Welcome, welcome. If you're watching me on YouTube, on Kemet One on One, if you're watching me on Black and Gold, if you're watching me on African Diaspora Press, welcome. Maybe you're watching me on one of my Facebook channels. Welcome to this conversation. I'm very happy to be here with you. Okay, welcome. So I'm gonna go ahead and get right into it. Something crossed my mind. There have been many ideas as of late that have come across my mind. And they relate to us as a black people and just to society in general, particularly in America, which is where I'm from. And what it is something that I've noticed. I noticed it as a young man, but I was never able as a young man to make great sense of it. As an older man, a more mature man, it has become very clear to me what is transpiring. And that is the question of leadership in our communities. And I think a lot of times we confuse leadership with age. We assume age equates to leadership. You guys can hear me. Go ahead and put a one. Put a one in the comment section. We assume that age equates to leadership. If you can't hear me, well, we assume that age relates to leadership. We assume that influence equates to leadership. However, it isn't age or influence that equates to leadership. What equates to leadership is a combination of two things. One, wisdom. Wisdom. If you're wise, there are certain things you realize. You listen differently once you have wisdom. And when you have wisdom, you know that some folks, they're listening for something other than what you're saying. They are trying to detect the energy behind your words. They're looking at how those words can be used against you or perhaps someone else. That's just an example. So one important thing that a leader does, that an elder has, an elder in his or her community, is wisdom. Some elders have a boundless wisdom. The other factor that creates an elder is the willingness to share that wisdom. So those two factors, wisdom and willingness to share that wisdom, that equates to an elder. So what I'm seeing is that we have elders, but not elders. Shout out to Crystal. Crystal, you're the first person I've ever heard use that phrase. Elders, but not elders. So what I think is needed in our communities, as much as anything, is those two things, wisdom and the willingness to share that wisdom from our elders. Elders that are not just elders, but are true elders. Now, part of the reason why I'm saying this, some things have happened as of late. Cyrus Carmack Belton, he was murdered in South Carolina, chased down for 300 yards and shot in the back. Another thing that has happened as of late is Carmelo Anthony was given 35 years and convicted of a murder. We can talk about the details of these cases. I mean, we all know what it is. We all know what's going on. But before these things even happen, before they even occur, there are some safeguards, some better safeguards that we need in our communities to make sure that these things don't continuously happen. And that is leadership. And this leadership should come from our elders, not simply our elders, but our elders. And I will say to our elders, we are not expecting perfection from you. But we do need something other than gossip and bitterness coming from you. Now, let me speak to something that I've seen. And this related to experience that I've had as a young man as well. What I've noticed is that sometimes elders, again, big difference between an older and an elder. I've noticed that elders tend to be competitive with youngers. I can remember on several occasions in a number of different endeavors that were elders. People with influence, but not success. Influence, but not necessarily wealth. And they would be strangely competitive, almost celebrating setbacks that I would have. I was bewildered by this. If we're working towards a common goal, why the competition? And then, as I grew older, I came to realize that that's truly what it was. It's secret competition. It's ego, not necessarily a collective goal to work, a collective effort to work towards a goal. You push the ball so far, then I'll push the boulder, then somebody else will push the boulder. No, it's you by yourself. You push that boulder up the hill, because I couldn't do it. And if you can't do it and it falls back on you, then good. It's no reflection on who I am, because you failed too. And I see that this mindset a lot of time with our so-called elders that are elders. Shout out to Magdalene. Shout out to Red Candy. I see the lot in the building. Welcome. So that's the purpose of this presentation. And again, my name Dr. Perry Kyles, Brother Kepara, as some of you may know me. And moving forward, more and more, I want to come on, and I don't want to just give you knowledge about Kemet, or African diaspora history, knowledge about the global economic system. Those things are relevant. Those things are essential. But in addition to that, I want to share with you some of the wisdom that I've gained over these years throughout my life and in my various experiences. And this is one of them. What happened to Carmelo Anthony, what happened to Cyrus Carmack Belton, things like this happen all the time. There was a young man in Houston I was a mentor for. And he ended up getting murdered in a fight. He was winning the fight. I don't want to get into all of the details, but he ended up getting murdered. Our young people, and his father was in prison. Our young people require a lot of guidance, but I mean sincere guidance, heartfelt guidance, not simply judgment. Judgment without guidance, without the sincere desire to elevate that person, they will see right through that. We're all humans. We all have that sixth sense. I mean, we have 6, 7, 8 sense. We have senses beyond our 5 senses. And we can sense when someone is insincere with us. And I think what has happened is a lot of times there is far too much competition between the younger generation and the older generation. And I used to hear this a lot. For example, I used to hear this a lot in Thailand. I would hear a lot because there's a thriving black male community in Thailand. I would hear younger blacks. Seems like they had some contempt, some ill feeling towards some of the older men. And I hear this. I know that this is the case also in America. So I can kind of understand the reason for it, because they feel like we have not done a good job of providing leadership and wisdom. And I know firsthand that a lot of times when we should be elevating, we're dragging them down. Now, I hear women say all the time, young women say that older women are competing with them. And I hear folks talk all the time about older women competing with younger women. And I'm like, what? Really? Is that true? I don't know about that. Now, for you women who are listening now, in the comment section, tell me, is that exaggerated? Is it isolated cases? Or is it a phenomenon? Is it commonplace? I mean, is it a reality? But I think, and I would venture to say that it's probably true. And I think that the fragmentation that we see in a lot of communities in general, and not particularly our own black community in the United States, is fragmentation between the classes. There's fragmentation between the North and the South. There's the sex wars, which I will address in a different presentation, the sex wars. But also, it is generational. And we're seeing a lot of generational beef between the older and younger. And I definitely see this in the activist community. It's most pathetic to me in the activist community, the generations, the conflict between the ages, between the generations. So this phenomenon, the conflict between the ages, the conflict between the men of different ages, women of different ages within the activist community, all of this is just more tribalism. and it reflects inner weakness. I have traveled the world, and I thank God for my opportunity to do so. And one thing that I've learned is that the true poverty is spiritual impoverishment. I pity is a wasted emotion, and your drive to help this person and all of that, it may only make you feel better. It may be a very temporary salve for the next person's issue. But what's really behind their poverty, their lack of money, their lack of whatever it may be, achievement, or the feeling, whatever feeling, counterproductive, harmful feeling that they may have. A lot of time, what's behind that is spiritual impoverishment, their inability to wish other people well, their inability to be happy for other folks' achievement, their ability to help other people, even though they may feel that the support that they're giving that person may catapult this person. I'm not saying that if you're Burger King, that you give secret to McDonald's. I'm not really talking about competition in business in that sense. I'm saying from a community or a family perspective, there is a lot of unfounded, counterproductive contempt between the generations. And I think that I know for a fact a lot of younger people look to older people for leadership. When you're older, you have more wisdom. You know how to dance better. You know more songs. You have more general knowledge. You know so much more than what you knew as a younger man. Welcome, Vanessa. V. Freeman in the building. Welcome. So a lot of times, it's really easy for an older person to manipulate a younger person. But what I'm saying, let's discontinue to use our wisdom to poison people over which we have influence. Let's discontinue trying to tear down younger people. That was something that I saw. Several things, but I'll mention this one thing. I saw some elder, I have seen this dynamic in many places, so I won't even say where. There was a older so-called activists that were really hateful or contemptuous, just of younger, up-and-coming activists. And it was a WTF moment for me. I've had this experience too. I've had it in slightly in Baltimore, but particularly in Houston. I think that all of that intergenerational conflict, poor leadership by elders, using our influence to poison people over which we have influence, all of that is hugely destructive to society in general and to the blacks as a community. So what I'll say is that every single one of us who are now and older, like me, now I am an older, and I've seen so many people, even younger than me, they're no longer in this realm of existence. Their earthly vessel is no longer illuminated. So while we are here in this realm, those of us who are older, we should be thankful. And if all of our life's ambitions and goals have not come to pass, then that's okay because you have your life. Many of us have our health. We have our opportunity to see family members grow up, to see just so many, to see change over time. And as long as your vessel is illuminated, you have the potential to bring to life so many of your ambitions. So this is a call, it's a plea to the older generations, those who have those two necessities to be an elder. One, wisdom. Two, willingness to share knowledge and information. And if you have those two W's, wisdom and willingness to share knowledge and information, if you have that, we need you now more than ever. We need you to conceive of yourself as a waymaker now more than ever. If you are being held down by bitterness, if you're being held down by jealousy, and your ability to be honest with yourself is one of the greatest abilities that you can have. There's two sides of the same coin. Empathy, the ability to put yourself in the next person's shoes, and two, self-awareness. Two sides of the same coin. If you have that, then just know that our communities, we need our elders, true elders, more than we ever have. Now, I'm about done here, but I want to talk about something else. You may not realize it. Something else related to the topic, that is. But you have the power to evolve. Maybe you have extraordinarily thin patience. But those harsh words, those words tearing down your grandchildren, your niece, your nephew, this person, your own children, those words are destructive because they're going to pass it on to the next generation. Your habit of overdosing, right? On alcohol, on drugs, whatever drugs they may be, over-the-counter drugs, prescription drugs, non-addictive drugs, whatever drug that it may be. Your over-reliance and self-medication on this drug, you're creating a culture. That culture is being passed down. The gossip, you're gossiping. When you hear something and you add to it just to make the story more interesting. Or maybe you and one person, you share a contempt, which may really be jealousy for a different person. And your gossip, I mean, yeah, you are, that energy, that negative energy goes in the universe and it is dragging that next person down to some degree, but more so than that, it's dragging you down. So, what I'll say, if your earthly vessel is illuminated, it is not too late for you to evolve as a person. It is not too late for you to evolve physically, spiritually, and mentally. And if you're on this earth, there are probably other people that you love. Just do it for yourself, but just know that any improvement that you make will have a positive influence, energy-wise, and just by the virtue of other people seeing you, you will have an extremely positive, more positive impact than what you have, had already. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Subscribe to the channel. Happy birthday, Magdalene. So that's all I wanted to say. I won't be long-winded. But one thing I would like for you to do, it seems like I was having an issue here with this platform. So tell me if you can see me clearly or if I appear to be a bit cloudy. And that's all I have to say thus far. If you're watching on Facebook, welcome, I appreciate you. Follow me. If you're watching on Kemet 101, African Diaspora Press, Black and Gold, wherever you're watching, be sure to subscribe to the channel. All of my elders who are wise and willing to share their wisdom, I appreciate you. Your positive influence, it will have a more resounding impact than you even realize. The more wisdom and love that we're willing to share, the less serious Belton incidences we'll have, the less Carmelo Anthony incidents that we're willing to have. And I would be dishonest with you if I was to tell you that occurrences like that are unrelated to the discussion that we're having right now. So I believe in collective ascendancy, and once this occurs at the spiritual level, then it will happen at the mental and the physical level. I am a living proof. I had to do a lot of work on myself, but that work, it comes in more than one way, right? It comes in the company that you keep, the foods that you eat, the ideas that you let creep into your mind, the habits the habits that you establish. But I believe in the Almighty, the Most High. I believe in God. Some of you may choose to think of the Almighty as Goddess, which is why I choose the word Almighty most of the time, because the Almighty, the Most High, transcends sex, transcends race. And that's one thing that these Muslims are certainly right about. There's no need necessarily to put a face on God, but nonetheless, the Almighty, the Most High, is within you. You have extraordinary power to negatively influence or positively influence. And I hope for your own sake that you find it in yourself to use your power and influence to elevate, right? To elevate others as opposed to hate others. Assalamu alaikum, shalom, hetep, goodbye, brothers and sisters.